Hi everyone, I'm Gary Nolan. I'd like to welcome you to a continuation of our series of self-empowerment lectures. Today's theme, overcoming the dark side of our being. And it's that dark side that allows smart people to do stupid things and good people to do bad things. And then one day we wake up and where are we at? We're in trouble. We have a nation that's morbidly obese. We have children that are going to die before their parents because they're so sick. We have an epidemic of adult 2 diabetes in children. We have arthritis in children, heart disease in children. And my generation, the baby boomers, we have 85 million with problems with their memory, dementia, cognitive decline, and older individuals, senior citizens with Alzheimer's. These are some of the problems we're facing, but then we are also facing a financial meltdown. We have been living in a bubble. People were just buying everything they could, and now the bubble has burst. For the first time since the Great Depression of the 1930s, we are literally looking at the possibility that we will be back into another full-fledged depression. The reality is that we have hit the perfect storm. And I want to know, how did we get here? I want to know why so many Americans are so frustrated with their life that they're sublimating. How are we sublimating? Gambling, drinking, buying things we don't need, creating debt, spending our time on the internet, living a passive existence in some safe little way that we don't have to any longer really communicate with people. It's all done through cyberspace. We're frustrated. Our kids are overpressured. They don't have a chance just to be a kid anymore. Everyone is trying to outperform at some level. And then think of the crisis. Think of the stress. Stress kills you. Stress can cause disease, from cancer to heart disease to a stroke and dementia. Stress can easily cause you to lose sleep, and then your immune system tumbles.
If you look at the world around us, look at the news media, look at the stories, look at the fears of the environment, the fears of viruses that are going to come and take us away, the fears of war, the fears of global climate, and you start to recognize that we are living in an environment that is steeped in fear stimuli. Well, there's only one simple response to cells in that environment. You can see it in tissue culture. The moment you live in that environment, the first thing you do is close yourself down and withdraw from the stimuli, but at the cost of you are no longer growing. And what it also leads to in the world that we have right now, not only are we not growing and sustaining our biology, but the fears also shut down our immune system. And when we shut down the immune system, then at that point, what ultimately happens is we're not growing and we're letting invasive organisms take advantage of us. And so when we're in protection, we get sicker and ultimately can die from staying in a protection posture because it prevents the growth and maintenance of our body.
And stress almost always does something that no one likes, and that is it makes you make bad choices. And almost any time you make a choice from stress, it is the wrong choice. So, take a look around. Look at our environment. We're at the 12 tipping points. Right now, no matter what we do, it's not going to stop major events from happening over the next 50 to 100 years, and many believe, as I do, that some of these events will happen in the next 5 to 10 years. In fact, it was just about 4 years ago that over 1,000 of the world's leading scientists were discussing environmental problems, and one problem was the Larsen B shelf down at Antarctica. And people said, oh, it'll be from 100 to 10,000 years before it breaks. It broke 29 days later. So we're living in chaos times. It is my belief that one of the reasons that the individual today is in such crisis on so many levels is because many of our major institutions have betrayed us. The people that we trusted to make the right choices have made choices that help them but do not help us.
In today's world, a lot of people have achieved their goals, but have not really looked at the consequences of the process of achieving those goals, what happens when they do achieve these goals. Biologically, it's very interesting that we are driven by an imperative called the biological imperative, which is a built-in mechanism in all living organisms to survive. And this is the fundamental driving force of everything from bacteria all the way up to humans. And the relevance about that, then, we're on a real mission to identify what are those things that are necessary in our lives to survive. Well, it becomes an issue when we have to be programmed to identify what those things are. So when we are on our mission, we're not just coming from our own selves, we're actually coming from a history and a culture of other people providing us with programs as to what we want when we get there. So our goals are actually implanted by other people. Well, the problem with that is that goals become personalized for other people and not the same goals for you. And so we start looking at goals, and we have to ask, are the goals that we have been programmed to reach in our current world, the one that we're living in now, are these the goals that life intended us to seek? And are these goals that are actually in the end good for us? Well, my understanding from a biological point of view is simply this: no.
Think of the person that then borrows money in a hedge fund, goes out and buys commodities and manipulate commodity prices. A guy buys a barrel of oil and shares it with this guy over here. It's all on paper. And then this guy sells it back and back and back. Do you realize that a barrel of oil could sell 20 times before you, the public, actually pay that bill? That's why it is not supply and demand that is the driving force of the increase in the price of the current commodities, be those wheat, corn, dairy, or oil or gas. It's the individual that you will never see. You don't know a thing about them. You've never heard their name, but they're playing the market. Shouldn't we make this illegal so they can't do it? Because this winter, there are going to be individuals who cannot afford the fuel to keep their homes warm. And yet there'll be people making billions of dollars by playing the commodity market. What kind of ethic is that? Well, clearly, that's the ethic of the dark side.